Women have a lot more power than they think they do. And when we're in that power, we become magnetic. And when we're in the energy of magnetism, what happens is that the things that we truly desire from our heart and that we fully accept and receive simply seem to find their way to us. And the business is great and the relationship is great and things just unfold. And not to say there's not some shadow work along the way, because there is, but it's a lot less struggle than when we're not in our power and when we're giving our power and leaking our power all over the place. Today's conversation with Maii Vu is going to go deeper into this conversation about being magnetic. Join us to find out more.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show, Soul Nectar Show.
Well, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we talk about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we share our connection to that which is bigger than us, to the great mystery beyond the veil, and to those synchronistic moments that lead you inexorably towards another understanding of yourself, a deeper, wiser you. And I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird. I love these conversations week after week because I bring on fantastic guests that have beautiful wisdom, and I get to learn too as we have our conversation that unfolds, and you get to come along with us. And it's super awesome to get a double whammy that way. So I'm really excited today because we're going to be talking about how to become so magnetic that the desires you have in your heart just simply start to manifest all around you because of that magnetism that you have. And we're going to be talking with Maii Vu about how you get that magnetic. And welcome, Maii Vu. Welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm so excited to be back here again. And hello to everyone who are listening. My name is Maii Vu, a limitless mentor, and I'm crowned as a miracle coach that help women manifest all big life goals within the shortest amount of time. I'm so excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. So, well, you already introduced yourself. By the way, you guys have been watching my podcast for a really long time. You know that Maii Vu has been on the podcast before. So I'll put a link below to the last episode we did so you can catch up with that. If you want to know more about Mai's background and all that kind of stuff, that's in the last episode. I'll put that in the show notes. She's still doing Empowered Muse. So yay for podcasting and yay for continuing being a messenger. And, you're just continuing. Now you've got this magnetic work that you're doing, and you've even got like a beautiful event coming up on May 8th. So it's really timely. We're getting this out there so quickly. May 8th, 2023. And if you're watching this back years from now, that's okay. There's a free gift down below in the show notes. Don't worry about it. There'll be more events. Go check out Maii. So what is the passion? I know that you're so passionate about empowering women to have big dreams and succeed in those big dreams on the planet right now. How is that unfolding for you in your work? What's the main thing you're realizing that you really want to get the message out about?
Yeah, so I believe when people come to find me, I talk about quantum growth, I talk about scaling with soul, I talk about everything feminine and spiritual reality. Spirituality. The thing is, I realized that women first come to me for love, and they wanted beautiful relationships, and they wanted to have the most affluent men on the planet that falling head over heel over them. But after the marriage, which I've helped a lot of women got engaged, got in the ring. After the marriage, they realized that there is a deeper purpose of life to their soul. And they wanted to start working on their career and developing a purposeful pathway to build beautiful family and not sacrificing time for the money. And that's the way I come in and help them with scaling and working within quantum growth, where you get to try and call in big goals that you thought would take you like tens of years, instantly can happen next month or next year. And I figure all of that, right? So the love, the money, the career, what is the theme, the common theme here? And I realize the common denominator is actually the woman. It's actually the woman. who is she, and the energy that she carries is actually bringing in instantly what she wants or what she doesn't want. The energy that we manifest, the thing that we want, it's the same energy that we manifest the thing that we don't want. And most of the time people are looking and focusing on what they don't want in life, and they're forgetting that what they want has the equal carry the equal amount of effort in energy, not effort in action, but effort in energy to manifest. So that is where I want to draw the attention back to who they are in the core. Because once you are that magnetic person, then you call in beautiful relationship, you call in beautiful money, and you call in beautiful clients. Really, like all-rounded aspects of your life got upgraded when you become a different version of who you are. And that's what about magnetic.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I would say that's kind of like loving yourself and being worthy in yourself and pulling all your energy back, like not letting yourself get hooked, your attention get hooked by something that somebody's saying. And then you're off down there on that rabbit trail. It's like, no, pulling your energy back here and always maintaining your energy in your space to magnetize what you desire, right? Not what somebody else has sort of drug your attention over into. I feel like a lot of women, we get our attention pulled in many directions that don't necessarily serve anyone when we distract ourselves that way. When we pull our energy back, right? Like things tend to go more smoothly and everything when we're actually centered and grounded in ourselves. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I totally agree. So this is what I actually know and intuitively I know until last weekend I realized this very strongly. So during in business, right, there's so many different directions, there's so many different approach and different ways to improve your career, to improve the cash flow, to improve everything, clients, all of that. But as long as you are acting on someone else's direction, as long as you're acting on someone else's formula of success, then you would find it very struggling. That is what I found. I think for me, for my design, I'm a very much like I know intuitively and I know strongly if it's not aligned with me, it doesn't work, and it's been the clear sign something is in stuckness, something is in stagnation, something is really frustrating. It's not meant for me. So I use that as a sign. And whenever I notice, this is very subtle, by the way. I notice whenever I try to follow a mentor advice, I try to follow a program that I've got. And then if it is not really fitted into how I work and what I do, then the result won't come, or the process on the way there is really, really struggling. And in the minute that I switch around and I go back to who I am at the core and go back to activating my magnetisms, where I just focusing on who I am in my unique value and what kind of like person I wanted to call in, what do they actually need in that next level me, so that they easily being drawn to me. So instead of like pushing and acting on things, I now go back to like pulling into what's me, and that is a very different energy, and that is purely at the core of feminine energy. As long as I did that, then things started to unfold and started to rush and flood into my gate so quickly. Like last weekends I celebrated a 15K weekend within like 48 hours, launching a $33 masterclass. And that was because the masterclass was so aligned, even though it doesn't make sense on the paper, the logic, it doesn't make sense to, like whatever people teaching you about offer suits, about you have to have this offer, laying out this offer. It doesn't make sense at all in that sense, but then it makes sense to my soul. And once I brought it out to the world, and the feedback was crazy, like people just jumping on the opportunity. I didn't know people are ready for that kind of conversation. So this is what I realized, like when you just focusing on that magnetic you, then you easily attracting the right people, the right opportunity, the limitless potential around you, because you don't have to lift a finger. You still do the work, you still put in effort to work on the energy, but then the harder work on the external is no longer there. That is what I found.
Yeah, it's really a matter of being sensitive to the energy of force versus the energy of strength. I have this in my Gene Keys chart, and so it's one thing I'm working with in my life, like it's in my EQ center, my emotion center. And it's like I notice when I want to push or force, things get more stuck. But if I just relax back into my natural strength, like my inner core, my soul self, that's like majestic, that majesty, which is the high frequency, then things just sort of like unfold for me. So like last week we were talking before we got on the show, you were congratulating me for my book. So thank you very much. #1 international bestseller across multiple countries is like, woohoo, And the night before my release, in years past, I would be stressing out, like trying to like put more marketing out, like put another call out, like all this kind of work that was stressing me out, right? This time I was floating. So I went to the float spa and I was in there for like 2.5 hours, right? Just relaxing, getting centered back in myself, just kind of trusting the universe and knowing that it was like that place of knowing that everything is on the way, like it's all unfolding, surrendering it to the divine and just like being in that flow. And I think that's what you're talking about, is that like recentering my power in myself and my self-care is what actually is like magnetizing that success I experienced. And I'm still experiencing it because I'm doing the same thing. Is that what you're talking about in terms of like coming back to self?
Yeah, so I think self-care is one of that tool. So in order for us to coming back to ourselves, self-care is a very kind of easy to access kind of tool. Like everyone have the different way of self-care, everyone have a different way to pull in the attention. But at the core, what is the energy of self-care? It's truly about focusing back on who you are. It's just like imagining you are in a bubble and the bubble around you would be, I always use this tool, like imagine there's an aura right around our body, and does the aura cover to what extent around you? So if when you are focusing back on yourself and just scratching your skin, or like just basically focusing on your mind, your soul, your body, then the aura actually expanded more because the energy stayed with you within the aura, within the bubble. But as long as we're focusing on someone else, it's focusing on the goal, we're focusing on the client, we're focusing on men, then we actually send out the energy, and that is what we call energy leakage, right? We're sending out the energy to outside of the bubble, and that is how the bubble started to smallen and started to shrink down. This is what it very like reverse psychology, but like it's what actually worked for the energetics. So self-care is one of the way. For me, it's truly about holding into the feelings. So for you, maybe the self-care is having you accessing the certain set of feelings around yourself. For me, it's falling in back into the feeling of how much beautiful life, what kind of like life am I when I am vibrating. Magnetic is a frequency. When I am magnetic, so all eyes are on me, right? Am I feeling comfortable with that? Am I feeling seen? Am I feeling heard? So if I am magnetic and all eyes on me just because I look beautiful, my body looks healthy, but then internally I'm not showing my full self. I'm not expressing everything internally in my thoughts, my belief, my feelings. I don't voice my truth. Then it's not magnetic anymore. It's just captivative for the eyes. So it is both internal and external kind of magnetism that we have to activate inside.
I love that you're saying that. That's really powerful. I'm actually studying this book right now by Mama Gina, called Pussy. And it's talking about how like placing our attention on our pleasure and coming into our pleasure center and being with ourselves and our bodies and healing all those places where it wasn't safe to be seen. For example, like what you're talking about, the feminine energy loves to be seen, loves to be appreciated, loves to be beautiful. Like the beauty is all about the feminine. And so when we are embodying that energy, then what does come up is the shadow, right? Is the places where, oh my gosh, people are seeing me. I need to go hide. Or maybe we had some bad experiences with stalkers. I know a lot of women have problems with stalkers, people getting obsessed with them and like chasing them around. These fears come up. And then those are the things that we need to actually heal, because we want to be in the vibration of only our truest essence, attracting what's truly for us, right? In our experience.
Yes. And a lot of people block this magnetic vibe because they associate that magnetic also comes with pain, also comes with bothersome, also come with problem and issues because you were maybe violated or assault before, and then you don't feel safe being seen. But I wanted to also emphasize that magnetic isn't just about the physical feature of the body. Magnetic is the aura that you carry in a room with you. And there are women who have big dreams and who have big desire and who have like big goals, and they have big thoughts. They have a lot of deep thoughts, but then they smallen themselves out to fit in the room that they walked in, and they don't want to take over the spotlight because they are maybe joining someone else, stages. And that is where you suddenly shut down your own light, and that is how you attract a lot of darkness. Like you attract a lot of wrong people because your light is not shining, so the right people can't see you. And then when the right people can't see you, then they leave space for the wrong people, right? So we actively are co-creating and calling in experiences. It's just like, what kind of experiences are you creating in your life? Are you aware of that sort of experiences? And I feel like people, like especially women, gotta understand more about this one, so that they activated their own magnetisms to calling in the right people, calling in the right opportunity, calling in the right experiences for themselves.
What is your experience with shadow work? Like, is shadow work part of what you do to open up more access
Yeah.
for people to have that radiance, that magnetism?
Yes, of course. I do believe that the biggest part to activate the light is actually owning the shadow. It's really owning the deepest, the most ignored or abandoned version of who you are inside. Maybe you got triggered by someone saying something. Maybe you got jealous by someone having something. Maybe you get curiosity about someone having things so easily, but you feel like it's no way that's going to happen for you. That is all shadow side, where you ignore or abandon a part of your desire, and you don't let yourself be hurt. Like shadow, I think we know that shadow work is vast, right? It's so much topics there. It's like different archetype, that different way to describe it. But for me, in the short and simplest term, shadow side, it's just a part of what we don't actually want to see, to be seen, and we haven't brought to the light. To live in the wholesome and the fullest potential of someone is to actually bring out the shadow, and not just keep building on the light, not just building on the beautiful, what you need, what already your strength. It's also like accepting the weakness. It's also like knowing how to soothe that fear internally, knowing what to do when your shadow is acting out, and be aware of those. So I feel like people have to be aware of this more in order to not deeming their life, and know, like, if you can manage your own internal demons, then you know that whatever negative feedback on the outside, on the external, it's just another demon in other people. If you can manage your own demon, then you would have no fear facing other people's demon, because once you are in your basket of light, once you are fully embody that basket of light, then you surely would trigger the dark side, or the dark side of other people. And how do you handle it? How do you have boundary? How do you are able to like really see through that and have ways to work around it? It's important so that you don't attract in unnecessary experiences in your lives.
And I feel like sometimes those experiences that come in as you expand your light is also kind of asking you, so are you going to keep giving your power away to that thing? Here it is
Yeah.
again. Are you going to give your power to that thing, or are you going to approach it differently now? And
Yes.
I just came, as you can imagine, just came through the full launch. Just like, wow, my energy just went, right? And I'm at the next level. And then I'm having like these really old patterns surfacing. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. That's asking me, am I done with that pattern? Am I finished with that? Is that done now? Am I going to approach that from a different angle and release it with grace? And so I think that sometimes we maybe get confused when the shadows come up. Things are going really well, and then all of a sudden we get dragged back into some shadow pattern. What do you think it's about? Because I think it's about a test. I feel like it's like, are you going to give your power to that or not? What do you think it is?
I find it as an opportunity for you, as a test. And I think it's both, right? It's also a test of like, are you done being this small? Are you done playing in this role? Or it's also an opportunity for me, as in my understanding, to make a decision. So I feel like universe expands, and the biggest desire of universe is growing and expansions. And universe expansion can only come without growth and expansions. But then it's so good at being comfortable and staying in comfortable zone. And one of the things for human to thrive, to change, to thrive, to grow, is either by a pain or by a desire, a bigger desire. So once they are presented a big pain in their life, then that is where they either give in and lose the whole control all over again, or they actually give up the past way of living, the past behavior, the past identity, and decide to step out of this and become someone else and become and function differently, have a different mindset. So it is truly an opportunity, a gift of growth that people often ignored, and they don't realize that it's so powerful to use such moments where the shadow took over, the shadow started to show up, something you don't like showing up. That is a moment where you got to step into your power and decide, because you have equal amount of power like the creator. If you're attracting this experiences, then you have the same amount of power to change these experiences and attract something else differently. People haven't realized that that's such power, and I really want them to start owning and utilizing this power to the maximum capacity.
Yeah. And I think what supports that shift is not taking it personally, right? Like not owning that as that's something happening to you, but just something that you notice. It's like, oh, there's something that is coming into my space and I get to decide if I want to interact with that thing or not. And if I don't, I don't. But it also sometimes is calling you forth to like, maybe there's something that, and I think this is true for a lot of women. Sometimes these things come up and the invitation from spirit is saying, hey, it's time for you to express. It's time for you to stand in your wisdom. It's time for you to speak what you need. It's time for you to make that ask. What do you actually need? What do you actually want? This is your opportunity. Stand in that space. And when you actually lean into the discomfort of that and you do it, it's like, wow, everything responds to you differently because you actually spoke from that place of centered power.
Yeah. And I feel like also a lot of people deem the light because they know the shadow, they make a decision, but then what is the next step? Like what comes after the decision? How can you handle the breakdown? How can you handle the turmoil? How can you handle that emotional time? So for example, after my 15K weekends, I was on a high, like there was a consistent sales for like, I think 14 days straight in my business. And suddenly one day I wake up, I just feel like completely shattered. I have a fight with, one of the people in my life. I have emotional breakdown. I cry out of nothing. It's like people don't understand how this work, how growth happens. And that is where they stopped. So they decide, but then now they feel they dip a toe in the water and they try to go swimming, for example, but then they start stepping on rocks underneath and they don't know what it is and they just feel scared and they stopped. So it is time to not just tipping the toe in the water, but it also start swimming in the ocean. That is where limitless potential, everything is available and ready for you to experience this. But that has to come only when you know how the game is played, the game of expansion, the game of growth, the game of like changing yourself. And after the decision is come the change, a big change. Like how you can handle the waves. That is what people need to figure out. And that's what I actually teach them inside the event as well. So yeah, it's not just the shadow, it's not just self-care. We can go deep with this topic because magnetic is a way of living, right? It's a state of being. And once you become magnetic, then you instantly drawing in different experiences. For example, one of my clients 3 years ago, she was completely on her knees, like broken up with her boyfriend. Actually broke up with her. She lost everything to that relationships, all the money she bought furniture, he kept everything. So she left the relationship, broke inside, broke outside. And then she dated another man, and all the men she dates always like either a millionaire or like very affluent. But then the next guy was very much so selfish, and he just keep asking and taking from this girl. So she knew something was not right. So she came and worked with me, and I changed a lot of her mindset, internal work. We do a lot of shadow work. We cry a lot, breakdowns, all of that, handling, changing identity. Fast forward 3 years later, now she is so magnetic. Like she changed as a person. She's still beautiful, but she changed as a person internally. And now she attracting still millionaire and multimillionaire. But the difference is the behavior of the man. They bought flowers on the first date. She just got invited to a red carpet in Paris on her birthday next month from a man that she dated, which is like a dream of her life for a long time. If she would have going by step to that dream, it would take her ages to get there. But then once you become the magnetic and once you're vibrating in the frequency of truth, in the frequency of light, then you instantly draw in what you want, which is already available out there. So I realized that it is not just the external physical self-care. It's not just focusing back. It's go way deeper than that. It's not just simple in a conversation. So that's why I decided to like really opening a bigger container to talk just about magnetism.
Yeah, it takes a while to get into that. Like you said, 3 years of really good work with you is like to unlock that potential that she's treated well, right? And every step along the way,
Yeah, and not just treated
continuing.
well. Yeah, not just treated well. She's now like instantly calling in client at 10K. Like 10K was her biggest dream when she came to me 3 years ago. And at that time, she didn't even earn any money yet. And I told her at the beginning, 10K would be one day, but like not now. And then we have to put in like practical steps along the way to work that. But then now she's living that wildest dream. And this woman come from a very unprivileged background. So basically, she doesn't have any healthy belief systems around being, treated well, being worthy of love. She doesn't have any of that at all available. She had the opposite experiences. So like this woman come from really, really like deep, dark space to right now living in her light. And it take a lot of courage, confidence, and a lot of work on herself.
Yeah, and that's the power of shadow work. That's the power of getting into the deepest place within yourself and actually shifting those patterns, which some of them are ancestral patterns, changing that all around. And then it builds momentum where everything starts to really change in your life the more you stick with that stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's actually sticking with it as a practice. Like you said, a way of life. Magnetism is a way of life. It's not just like a course on the weekend, although there is a course coming up that will get you started if you're interested in that. May 8th, 2023, you are the magnet that Maii Vu is hosting. I'll put a link in the show notes. And if, like I said, if you're watching this long after, there's also a free gift, Inspired Action Masterclass, that you can get for free. And of course, always listen to the Empowered Muse podcast. Is there anything else you want to share with us as part of this conversation, Maii, before we head out the door?
I just feel like this conversation needed women to wake up to the truth that they have so much power. Whatever your experiences in your life right now, be it like a fight with a husband or a breakdown in the career or the business struggles, you got the same amount of power to attract much better, beautiful things in life, equally the same amount of effort, equally the same amount of time. You just need to switch the gear, switch the head from, the victim and powerless to really like, all right, so this is, I'm the creator. I experienced this one. How can I work it now? How can I use this to leverage to my next potential, to my next possibility? And we have so much more to dive deep into the conversation. So if you love to join us, go to bit.ly/magnets 2023. So the dash is the high dash, not the underscore. So bit.ly/magnet 2023. But thank you, Carrie, for bringing this conversation on your podcast. One of the reasons Impact Me podcast have received right now like $160,000 organically is literally based on this concept of magnetism. Like last month, I published 2 podcast episodes only, and I got 6,500 downloads, which is incredible. And on average, we are at 4,000, 5,000 months, but like 2 episodes resulted to like 6,500. It's nothing but the energetics work. It's nothing but the momentum of energetics, the frequency of like, what are you carrying on? Are you carrying on the frequency of the fear, the anxiety, the worry? Are you carrying the frequency of I'm the best, like I'm unique, and the value is amazing, and this need to be out there? Like these 2 different frequency, people got to be able to switch between in order to vibrate on a magnetism frequency.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful explanation too. Yeah. And before you put something out, I've learned about that too. You got to get it in the right frequency and get the messages from your heart and then put it out. Not when you're in your
Absolutely.
shadow.
And work on your shadow. Oh my gosh. It's forever the work.
It is. It's what we're here to do. Is we're changing human consciousness from the inside out, and every single one of us gets that opportunity. And what we make of it as co-creators is like our choice. We get to make what we desire from this life experience. It's pretty cool. So, well, thanks so much for coming on. I know that I'm going to be on your podcast real soon too, talk about the inner medicine, and I'm really excited. So once again, you guys, I'll put the link in the show note to the last interview that we did and all these other links for the event coming up on May 8th. You Are the Magnet, as well as all the other links for Maii Vu. So thanks for coming on the show. And we're going to give kisses now to say goodbye to everybody. So thanks for coming on with us, everybody. Leave comments, share, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And here's your kisses. Mwah. Lots of love and kisses and blessings. Have a beautiful week, everybody. See you next time on Soul Nectar Show. Bye for now.
See you. Bye-bye.
If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. To dive in deeper to nourishing conversation, visit soulnectar.show.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken, awake, show. Take a sip from the drip of the nectar, from the source of who you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah.